All right, here we go. What's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WP Watercooler episode number 318. Oh my gosh, 318.
So many.
Yeah, 318. This is probably one of the biggest times, busiest times of my typical yearly endeavors at work. It's Easter time, and it's crazy busy over there. So, yeah, I'm super excited about that. So, 318. We're gonna be talking about WordCamps. It's all too much ? And we're gonna go around the room real quick, get everyone introduced. Jamal, hey, how's it going?
Good. Well, I'm Jamal, and I have different hats every month. So this month, at least for the next 10 days, I'll be the lead organizer for Orange County WordCamp.
What?
Yeah.
Nice.
We still have some 8 or 9 tickets left, so you
lead that camp. Lead that camp.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it.
God.
Thank you for your service as always, Jamal.
Thank you.
Manny, how about you? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm based here in Las Vegas. I co-organized. I was the lead organizer of WordCamp in Brazil, Fortaleza, Brazil, in 2016. I helped Robert a couple of years ago to co-organize here the WordCamp in Las Vegas, and we are in the early stages of now organizing the WordCamp 2019, the 10th year anniversary here for Las Vegas. John Hawkins is leading that.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Good to have you on. Say, how about you?
Hello, I'm Say Reed. I make WordPress, teach WordPress, preach WordPress at Say Reed Media, all the things.
Leo, how about you?
Hi, everyone. My name is Leo. I am the Ecosystems and Engagement Strategist at XWP. I'm also co-organizing WordCamp Orange County, which is next weekend. And we are now officially in the pre-planning stages of WordCamp Long Beach, which is...
Oh, I forgot I can append that to my thing now. Can I append that to my thing? I'm also a co-organizer for WordCamp Long Beach.
She'll never remember.
I'm organizing the after party.
Well, I'm a core organizer for WordPress.
What is that? What for WordPress?
I organized. Sorry, no, I'm not an organizer. I contributed to WordPress.
There you go.
I think everyone in this room
I was like, if you're co-organizing WordPress, we need to have some conversation about the organization of WordPress.
That's a lot to organize. There's too many
Jason
people.
Cosper, how about you?
I have no idea how all of you got into my messy office, but it's good to see you. Jason Cosper, aka the Human Marquee Tag, aka Kurt Autoloader. Just happy to be here today, ready to talk WordPress.
Good to have you on, Cosper. Good to have you on. I'm Jason Tucker. You can find me at Jason Tucker on Twitter. My website over at jasontucker.blog, you can find all the fun stuff that I got going on over there. I also do another show called WP Blab. I do that with Bridget Willard. We do that on Thursdays, so feel free to go take a look at that. And Leo's title, that's like some title goals right there for me, because that is insane. Say that again one more time, Leo.
Yeah, what?
Ecosystems and Engagement Strategist at XWP.
Dude, that is like, man, you need to put synergy up in there somewhere too, and it would be perfect.
What does that mean exactly?
Part-time yoga attendee, full-time headache.
Yeah, that cleared that.
That works.
You know, tech titles are so annoying. I just want to tell everybody that. Like, I just want to make a blanket statement about everyone's tech titles.
So let's talk a little bit about WordCamps. We were during our pre-show, we were discussing a little bit about WordCamps in general, but also very local to us. So let's see here. All of us except for Manny are in California. And so we have a ton of WordCamps in Southern California. We have a lot of WordCamps in California in general. And we have WordCamps that used to be here and now they're not, or maybe they're taking a break and now another WordCamp's taking it over. You got that going on with Long Beach. You got a couple different of those sorts of things that are happening here. You have ones in Riverside, and they just like start sprouting up everywhere. And there's just tons of WordCamps that are going on. And, we want to discuss kind of the I don't know, it's more like the excessiveness, or just like how much stuff is going on within WordCamps, and then the stuff that you get at WordCamps, and just all the stuff that comes in with that. And I wanted to kind of set the tone a little bit, just so we can make sure we're able to kind of hit a couple of those spots. But there's just a lot going on in, setting up WordCamp, getting sponsors for WordCamp, and then all the tchotchke type stuff that we hand out at WordCamps. You got like things like this, we just get tons of stuff at WordCamps. And so let's discuss this a little bit about like WordCamps in general, and then we'll get into the whole the absolute crazy meta type stuff of products and all sorts of those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think before that we should say that WordCamps, especially for beginners, it's an amazing thing. I think it's awesome.
It is.
I think we should even give a discount for beginners, like first timers. What do you think about that? If you were the first time,
off of what, the discounted price of like $40? What do you just like? What
for beginners?
What?
And if you
maybe we just make the older people who've been there a while pay more for all the bitching that they're gonna do.
Well, actually, I think it started like a few years ago. We have this special ticket price, like you are like a micro sponsor or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can pay a little bit more. I think that's a great idea too. You know, especially for the WordCamp junkies, like a few of us.
How many of us have gone to a WordCamp and never actually like sat in on a talk? Like I went to 2 WordCamps where I never actually sat down and learned anything. Really? I just walked around and talked to everybody the entire time I was there.
Many WordCamp.
And you learn things that way as well, though.
I did.
You actually, I feel like occasionally I learn more in the hallway than I do in some of the sessions. And that's not to slag any of the sessions, but sometimes there are things that are booked that, like, oh, okay, I have a grasp and an understanding of this subject, and this subject. I'm just going to hang out and talk to John Brown in the hallway for an hour, and we'll BS, and he'll put me onto something, I'll put him onto something, and then, it's like, oh, wow, that conversation was valuable.
Especially if you see that talk is being recorded for WordPress TV, right? So we could watch it later. I guess.
I find that like that. Oh, that's being recorded. I'll watch it later. To be like, oh, I'm going to take this video of something, and then you like never go back through your videos again and watch them, and you're like, oh, totally, I'll see that. But that I don't know. Maybe you're a different type of person.
I hit the watch later button on YouTube all the time, and I would hate to go back and look at my watch later queue. A reading list in iOS and Safari. I think I add stuff to reading list instead of bookmarking it like all the time, and my reading list is like 700 items deep.
Wow.
And yeah.
I mean, I think that part of the strength of the WordPress community in terms of conversations, knowing people who people are, like that hallway chat concept, whether it is you're going to the workshops or the sessions, or you're just there to connect with people. I mean, I don't think that's too much, because one, we're getting out of our offices, which is a difficult thing to do when you're a computer-based worker, right? And also we're all tend to be geeks, so we also hang out on our computers. And so getting up and being somewhere in person, even just that is nice. It gives people an excuse to travel and have write-offs for their companies. It creates a sense of community beyond the digital, and it gives an excuse for people to meet. And I don't think without the WordCamps, I don't think the WordPress community would be remotely as strong as it is. It also creates stronger local core communities. Like, for example, Leo has been organizing the Long Beach meetup for a while now, and 2 years, I don't know what and I never go to meetups because that's just not something that I need to do at this point in my career. But I am going to be on the organizing team for WordCamp Long Beach, and that's giving me an opportunity to connect more with Leo, connect more with the rest of the kind of, not like hardcore community, but basically the core WordPress community in my community. And that creates like this opportunity to just form relationships and just be like human. And I think that brings that human angle to WordPress that is doesn't exist in any other ecosystem because of this unique structure.
Anything that gets me out of like most days I wear pajama pants while I work because I work from home. Anything that actually gets me to put on like jeans or a pair of
t-shirt.
A formal t-shirt. That's a good one.
A clean t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. A clean hoodie instead of the one that just sits draped over the back of my chair all day. That is absolutely a good thing. But I mean, let's just Southern California, like Jason kind of alluded to. We have Orange County. Wow, Wild Jonathan appears.
This is like Pokemon. Catch it.
We have Orange County. We have Los Angeles, which is taking a hiatus, being replaced by Long Beach. We have Riverside. We have San Diego. We have
Santa Clarita.
Yeah. Let's see. What other ones am I missing? And then we have the ones that are accessible to the West Coast. We have Phoenix. We have Las Vegas, which will be making a comeback. Go up north. There's one up in Sacramento that is
Denver
going into its 5th year. Denver. These are all really, honestly, about a 90-minute plane ride away for most people on the West Coast. And then you go up to Portland and Seattle. It's basically and you see a lot of the same faces at this. I've kind of historically likened it to like the nerdy version of going to see the Grateful Dead. I'm not a Grateful Dead fan necessarily, but it's like going around to a Dead show. You see the same people hanging out. I feel like I struck a chord there with Say. You're muted, Say.
I was just gonna say I've never been a Deadhead, but like I am totally a WordPress head. That's absolutely accurate.
Yeah,
it's a funny analogy. We're like the fish of tech communities. The fish they do that too. They all go to all the fish concerts.
Every last one of those, short of the ones that are a little further up north, I have spoken at. I have applied to speak at, like over since 2011. I've been speaking at all these different like very like West Coast, Southwest WordCamps, and I'm sure that I know a number of you have as well, either speaking or in a support role. I know Jason gives a lot of his time with working the video and stuff. So you do see a lot of the same faces, and in a way, and maybe it's because I've been around doing this stuff for so long that it kind of gets it can get to be a little routine. I've taken a few WordCamp LAs off, and it's nothing against LA, but at one point you're just like,
come to Long Beach.
Yeah. See,
I mean, you have to come to Long Beach because I'm throwing the after party. So I mean,
in 2018, I took a WordCamp sabbatical year. I did not attend.
Come by and pick me up.
2018.
Also, as a moderator for WordPress TV, we have the problem of choosing these sessions because most of them are similar. So now we are publishing everything, and we see that most of the viewers are usually the beginners. They want to learn something. It's not like the way that we talk, oh, I missed this session, let me go and watch it again. Nobody does that. It's only people who has no access to the WordCamps goes and watches. If there is no WordCamp in your area, those people are the ones that go to WordPress TV. Now we have it on the YouTube, so we can get more data.
Jamal, how many first-timers for WordCamp Orange County this year?
Well, this year it's more than 1/3. So we are having, it's going up and up. So we are having first-timers this year, more than normal.
That's really good.
Many.
Awesome.
yeah, I mean, I think it's really important that we as the grizzled, jaded people who've been in WordPress for a long time, be like, oh, well, this is so boring. WordCamps are useless. Like, that wasn't our experience when we were starting and learning this stuff and forming the community. And I think that part of this evolution of WordPress is that we touched on this a little bit last week with some of these like kind of extra WordPress conferences like Pressnomics and like, some other ones. But, I think that there's probably room for WordCamp US sort of serves that role as like the greater conference for more and kind of I don't want to say advanced necessarily, but like people who've been in the WordPress community longer. I don't feel that WordCamp US really caters to beginners in the way that a lot of WordCamp locals do. But I think there's actually room for that. There's room for a conference WordCamps that are more for people who maybe want to talk about different angles or even, governance and things like that versus just, here's how to set up your page and here's the difference between themes and, that stuff that you can literally go find a million different talks on. And, all that stuff changes daily. Like themes change all the time, plugins change all the time. And so even if it's the same essence of a talk, it still can be a different talk. So I find there's a lot of value for people who are just getting started, small business people, to go to those. I recommend they go to those WordCamps and get a taste of that. So I just think it's important for us to make that distinction between what we think is valuable versus what the greater WordPress community, especially the beginners who are just getting involved, would find valuable.
Now, see, I think that all of it is valuable. I absolutely, I keep going. I'm on track to go to, at least 5 or 6 WordCamps this year, or 5 or 6 WordPress related events. One of the things that kind of in doing this for so long, and I know that beginners kind of maybe have a different perspective on this. I am pretty sure that if I walk through the door with any more WordPress swag, and I don't mean to, be sexist, my wife's going to kill me if I walk through the door with another WordPress t-shirt. If I walk through the door with, and as a speaker, I get, these nice little gifts like, pint glasses, occasionally a branded battery pack or something like that. I just really wish that there was a way that I could opt out of this stuff, that I could say, hey, you know what? Instead of giving me a t-shirt, still give t-shirts to the people who want t-shirts, the people, who need it, who want to show that they were there. But if I could opt out, if other people could opt out, and then that money could be spent on something that would, especially for us older jaded heads who, that money could be spent on something like closed captioning. I know, Jamal, you were telling me this year that WordCamp Orange County isn't going to have closed captioning where you guys had it last year. And, from an accessibility standpoint, being able to say, you know what, I don't want a WordCamp Orange County t-shirt. I'm doing Judging Plugin Palooza, and I'm doing WPwatercooler. So I'll be participating in WordCamp Orange County. I might get a speaker gift. If I could have said, hey, you know what, whatever you guys give me, this great thing you're going to give me for a speaker gift, never mind, and give the people closed captioning if that can help offset the cost.
The cost
one speaker gift is not going to pay for closed captioning.
Yes.
No. But say
adds up.
Yeah, it does add up. If more speakers, if more attendees opted out of, I don't need another t-shirt this year.
Mm-hmm.
You could also take that t-shirt or take that branded battery pack or whatever and use that as an opportunity to connect with someone who is new and give that to them and be like, hey, I noticed you're new. You've never been here before. And here's this. And they, it helps you bond, helps you form a relationship, maybe pass on some of your knowledge. So, I totally hear what you're saying in terms of just keep the money for the WordCamp, but
just being able to have like a simple check of select your size of t-shirt and say hey, I waive that.
I want gifts.
I waive any. I waive swag. Just to be able to say, hey, that, and then if that tallies up to maybe a better food option for the people who are vegan or vegetarian, if that adds up to closed captioning, if that adds up to printed programs so people don't have to pull up the website over the sometimes spotty WordCamp Wi-Fi and see what talk is coming up, do that, do something that actually helps the camp and doesn't make my wife or any of your partners upset when you walk through the door with yet another t-shirt. I mean, there's only so many quilts that Andrea can make for people out of WordCamp t-shirts, right?
I totally have.
Person.
I have an entire, so I just moved and I went through all of my t-shirts and I have literally this giant bin full of WordCamp t-shirts that I am going to have turned into a quilt. I don't want to wear them. They're not whatever. So it's totally happening. That's a real thing.
Well, that will help to the cost of the WordCamp. But what I understand from what we are just speaking is I think we need something in between meetups and WordCamps, another kind of meeting, maybe a day or so, without any gifts, without any food, so people can come in like beginners and learn something and meet the new people, and then they decide if they want to go to a regional WordCamp rather than in every city. So we have to come up with a new type of meeting.
We actually talked about that. In Long Beach, we actually have seen, I think, probably 15 or 20 beginners show up randomly over the last few months. And it's like, we want to do the formal WordCamp process. It's going to take 6 months to 10 months, depending on what you want to do and how big or how small you want to make it. And those things are great. But I want to get the beginners all the tools and resources they need tomorrow.
Yeah. One thing that we did here in Vegas a couple years ago, I co-organized the WooCommerce meetup here in Las Vegas, and we did a half a day workshop, free for everyone that could want to come and set up like the store, and it was like success. We had like 30 people come. They had nothing, and then we started like setting up the hosting, setting up the most common WooCommerce settings and everything, and that was great. You know, it was like kind of a happiness bar, but focusing only on WooCommerce. It was awesome for them, you know, because a lot of we could help them overcome a lot of roadblocks that they had, and I think we could do that again. You know,
maybe we should add happiness days.
That's a good one.
Call them happiness days, and then we can bond. Like the grizzled old jaded people can come and bond with the newbies and tell them all the stuff, and with no pressure and no t-shirts, and everyone can bring their own lunch.
Yeah, I also have a question for you guys. What do you guys think about like on-site and off-site after parties? Because I think LA did an on-site a couple of years ago.
Last year was an on-site, and before that it was an off-site. I know, because I organized them.
Yeah, so what do you think? Because I've seen like a very few people attending after parties now, and maybe on-site it's a better way to have people that actually went to watch the sessions still connect and still have like the hallway experience, right?
I know WordCamp Sacramento a couple years ago did an on-site. It was basically the second WordCamp ended, it was the on-site after party.
And you had a lot more people, right, attending?
Absolutely. Like everybody just hung out and then had, you know, they had some light eats, like, you know, some appetizer sort of things that were sponsored, and you know, some just very like easy drinks. I think because it was on a college campus, it had to be non-alcoholic, which is also a thing that, you know, should be considered. You know, the folks who bring their kids and they want to go to the after party, but oh no, it's at a bar. And nothing against Dirty Nellies, but you know, anybody who's under 21 basically gets to stand out in the parking lot. Like, that's not cool. That's not inclusive.
Well,
it's also, it depends on your goal, right? Like, is the after party a place to party and, you know, like drink and, you know, get crunk or whatever? Or is the after party a place to do the kind of extended hallway chat where you're networking and conversing and, you know, basically discussing and digesting what you talked about today? Like, oh my gosh, did you see Leo's talk? Oh my gosh, did you see Cosper's talk? Like, what'd you miss? I gotta put that on my WordPress TV list so I don't ever watch it. But like, you know, that is, I think that's what I've always felt that an after party, you know, does best. It's not about like loud music and, you know, getting your drink on, which is actually what a lot of WordCamp US after parties have looked like. They're very loud. There's a lot going on, and it's more like a party versus like an opportunity to network and connect and build these relationships that, again, as I said at the beginning, I think are the most important part of this community.
This year we have called that event Sunday Social, so it's on site. As soon as the event ends, everybody will walk outside where the sponsors are. We will serve some light food and some drinks, no alcohol. So it will be another hour or two just to socialize, network. So we call it Sunday Social rather than after party this year.
That's great, because if people want to go party later, they can make plans at the social to go meet up somewhere, and they can use the fancy technology like, you know, Yelp if they're not local or something, or they can ask people. So having something that is that, again, it's kind of like that in-between part, right? Like, so it's not the talks and it's not just like a party, but it's creating that space where we computer heads can then go and, you know, be real people and connect and get past the profile pictures.
Yeah, my favorite part about WordCamps, it's not beginner stuff. It's not even the talks. It's not that. It's that weird in between where I find myself inspired by people who are half my age, by twice my age, by people who are more experienced or less experienced. And repeatedly, what I find is that the human story has something to give. And as long as you're open to it, you can take something from it. That's why we do these things.
That's really beautiful, Leo. Sorry. Sometimes humanity's okay. That's all we have to say.
Well, I was saying, why are you looking at me, Leo, when you say twice or three times my age?
Twice or half my age, not 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, those 3 times your age people. Get them out of here.
I mean, there's Jensen Henschel who spoke, 2 or 3 times at WordCamp LA, which is an incredible thing to see. He has more real insights than anyone I've ever met on the industry. And there are definitely people I've met who are twice my age, who are doing far more interesting things than I'm doing in my career. And there's also people who are spot on at the same age as I am, who are just getting started with WordPress, who have a lot of interesting stories. It's an exciting thing to see in this space when you stop and look at people around you. What are we actually doing? And are we all leading, hopefully, in the direction we want to go, right? Every few months, we get the opportunity to stop and reflect and say, yeah, we're pointing the right direction. Or no, we're not.
Or just bitch and moan. Because that's actually cathartic too. Sometimes it's good to get together and be like, oh my God, that latest update was so bad. Oh. And then get over it, you know? Like there needs to be a space for that. And that's what this provides. So to answer that question, right, is this too much? I don't think so. I think there's, like with everything, there's room to evolve. There's room to grow in terms of, are we creating swag that's just going in the trash? Are we creating t-shirts that people aren't using? And what are we doing with those t-shirts? Maybe there's a homeless program we could give those to for extra t-shirts or something. Like, so as long as we don't just get complacent in this is what it has been and therefore this is what it always needs to be, I don't think it is too much. I think it's a strength, not a weakness. It's a feature, not a bug.
The other thing that I thought was really interesting, I talked to the team that helped organize Chrome Dev Summit last year. And one of the things they mentioned was that they're trying to move away from non-sustainable swag. So the amount of things that I have that I've thrown away that are probably not good for the world makes me very sad. But socks, if you throw them away and they're biodegradable, I don't feel bad.
Socks. I wear all my WordCamp socks. Don't hate on the socks. Sorry.
Well, socks are great. Is what I'm saying. Is that they fit everyone for the most part, and not everyone, but almost everyone. And maybe not kids, maybe not people with bigger feet, but you get a vast majority of people within this little bubble, and they're relatively cheap, and they don't.
Everybody needs them.
Yes.
Love it. Just don't start handing out plants, okay, guys? We don't need plants being handed out because they're sustainable and they're going to grow and do all that fun stuff.
I have this from WordCamp US. This was a plant. Sorry, Yost. They gave away these bulbs, which, by the way, can you take this across state lines? I'm not sure, but I did. Anyway, it was a bulb flower in here, and then I just found it in a swag bag. It's dead. So plants, maybe not the best choice.
1 minute left. You may have a final word you want to speak on.
WordCamp Long Beach is going to kick all the butts.
Ooh.
Me and Leo working on it, plus like 14 other people.
Sure.
Like, come on now, make your plans now.
When is it?
We have a JetBlue flies to our airport right here. We have an airport in Long Beach, so make your plans.
It is my favorite airport in the LA area. It is such a lovely, delightful airport. You actually get to walk on the runway to your plane, and it feels like you're in the 70s, and except for everybody wearing sweatpants, it feels like the golden age of air travel.
A perfect restaurant upstairs.
Yes.
It's great here, and we have all the recommendations. So just know that we're going to be different and better. Not better, because it's not a competition, but we're just going to be great. So
when will it be?
So we're looking at
in the fall.
Yeah, or the winter. We haven't quite decided yet. Either October or December. It depends on stuff. We're figuring it out.
Well, that's about it for today. I want to say thank you very much for all of you for coming and hanging out. If you want to watch WP Watercooler live, we're actually doing a live event, which is going to be over at WordCamp Orange County on April 27th and 28th. So we will see you there. Thank you very much for all of you for coming out and hanging out with us and watching us all the different social media channels. No joke, I stream this thing out to 9 different places now on the internet. It's crazy. My mom's getting very upset with all of the different places I'm pushing this stuff out there. So talk to y'all later. You have a good one. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.